Welcome to the deep dive. We focus in on a topic, pull out the key stuff you need. Basically, getting you informed without all the noise.
Your shortcut to understanding.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into smart ways to gather data, but, without spending a fortune.
Yeah, keeping it budget friendly. We've got insights here from Cognitive Market Research.
Right. Specifically, looking at how companies, maybe like yours, can get the information they need without a massive bill attached.
If you've ever thought, how do I get good intel without breaking the bank? Well, this one's for you.
Absolutely. Our mission today is exploring these cost-effective strategies.
And really finding what gives you the most value, the most bang for your buck, you could say.
We're talking about understanding customers, market shifts, all that jazz.
All by using resources that are often just sitting there, free to use.
Okay, let's get into it. Our sources kick things off with something pretty accessible. Free online tools. Sounds almost too easy.
Well, it is surprising how much is available, and often with tools you might already be using.
Like Google Analytics. Most websites have that, right?
Exactly, most do.
Yeah.
But the question is, are you really digging deep? It's not just about total visits.
So more than just the basic traffic numbers.
Way more. You can see which paths users take before they buy something or sign up. You can spot pages where people just give up and leave.
Ah, like finding the weak spots.
Precisely. And understanding how different visitors behave, like do people from search act differently than people clicking an ad? It's about looking beyond the surface.
Okay, and that's your own website. But what
Yeah.
about elsewhere? Social media was mentioned?
Definitely. Social platforms, think Facebook, Instagram, they have their own analytics dashboards now, and they're getting pretty sophisticated.
Not just counting likes anymore.
Not at all. You can see the demographics of your most engaged followers, figure out what kind of posts work best, even track video views versus clicks on images.
Interesting.
And what's really insightful is when you connect the dots. See how users coming from social media then behave on your website.
Oh, right. So maybe Facebook sends lots of clicks, but Instagram users actually spend more time looking at products.
Something like that, yeah. It hints at different intentions, different mindsets.
Okay, so we can see who is interacting and what they're doing. But what about asking them directly? Opinions, preferences.
Ah, yes. That brings us to the power of free survey and poll tools. Often overlooked, I think.
Like Google Forms, SurveyMonkey.
Those are the big ones, yeah. Google Forms, SurveyMonkey's free tier, Typeform 2, they let you build quite tailored surveys without paying.
And you can get pretty specific.
Oh, yeah. You can go beyond simple multiple choice. Use logic so the questions change based on earlier answers. Add pictures, videos even. Get that open-ended qualitative feedback too.
And the sources said these are pretty user-friendly. You don't need to be a tech whiz.
Not at all. They're built for ease of use. Drag and drop often. Templates to get you started fast. It's a direct line to your audience.
Asking them exactly what you need to know.
In their own words.
Ah,
And getting it out there is key too. Put the survey link on your website, maybe after they buy something. Send it in emails.
social media too.
Absolutely. Share it on social, even QR codes in a physical store, maybe. Get that immediate reaction.
Okay, so free online tools, definitely a strong starting point. What about broader market stuff, like bigger trends, demographics? Our sources mention public data sources next.
Yeah, this is where it gets quite interesting. There's this huge pool of information out there, often just available.
Like data the government collects.
Exactly. Think about government databases. They gather enormous amounts of data on the economy, population details, sometimes down to the neighborhood level industry stats.
And that's useful how? For a business, I mean.
Well, it can tell you about market potential in a new area, the size of your target audience, maybe even risks in your supply chain based on economic factors. It's not just numbers, it informs real decisions.
And it's not just local government. The World Bank came up.
Right? The World Bank is fantastic if you're looking internationally or thinking about it. They've got free data on global economies, social trends, environmental stuff across different countries.
So you can compare markets, see what's growing.
Assess risks, opportunities, all freely available.
The sources also mention things like Open Data Network, data.gov. What are those about?
Think of them as libraries for public data. They collect data sets from governments, nonprofits, other organizations.
What kind of data are we talking about?
Could be anything, really. Local traffic patterns, health statistics, education data, even things like air quality.
How would, say, a local business use traffic data?
Well, a small bakery might look at public data on local events, plus traffic patterns to figure out the best delivery routes, or when they need more staff on. It's about creative thinking, connecting seemingly unrelated info.
Makes sense. And what about keeping up with general trends? Pew Research, Gartner.
Yes, organizations like Pew Research Center or Gartner often release free summaries of their bigger research projects.
So you don't get the full deep dive report, maybe, but
But you get the headlines. Key market shifts, changes in consumer attitudes, new tech trends. It's valuable high-level intelligence to guide your thinking without paying upfront.
good tip. Compare findings from a few different sources, too, I guess.
Definitely helps get a more rounded view.
And here's a quick fact from the notes. Amazon Web Services has an open data registry. Like hundreds of data sets.
Yeah, it's quite something. Shows this move towards open information. AWS hosting over 348 public data sets, renewable energy, economics, even pediatrics data.
Wow, who knew?
It's worth browsing, honestly. You never know what you might find in your field that could give you a real edge.
So yeah, from website clicks to global economics, loads of data out there for free. Let's circle back quickly to surveys and polls. We touched on them, but focusing on doing them effectively on a budget.
Right. The main thing is they're still super cost-effective and flexible. Those free platforms we mentioned, surprisingly capable.
You can really tailor the question.
Exactly. Target specific groups, get number data, get opinions. But the key on a budget is be crystal clear on why you're asking. What specific answers do you need?
Focus is important.
A tight focus survey beats a rambling one any day. Core questions get better results.
And getting it to people without a big ad spend, that's crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely. Get creative with channels you already have. Your email list. Goldmine. Even a small one is usually engaged.
Social media followers.
Yep. Maybe you can target posts to certain follower types. Think about partnering up, maybe cross-promote surveys with a related business,
Ooh, clever.
and just ask happy customers directly. Sometimes a small incentive helps too, like entry into a draw. Doesn't have to cost much.
And then there are those really quick social media polls.
Ah, yes. Fantastic for fast, informal feedback. Twitter polls, Instagram story polls, even LinkedIn polls now. Super easy to set up.
And people seem to respond to those quickly.
They do, because it's so easy. Great for a quick vibe check on a new idea or asking about a recent campaign. You get a directional sense of things almost instantly.
And because it's instant, you could potentially adjust things really fast.
That's the beauty of it. Test two different messages with a quick poll. If one clearly wins, pivot. No need for expensive, slow market research for that kind of thing.
Okay, so beyond just the polls and surveys on social media, the platforms themselves are a data source, right? Our sources really emphasize that.
There really are. Think of social media as like a giant ongoing focus group that's always on.
If you listen properly.
Exactly.
Hmm?
Monitor conversations about your brand, sure, but also your industry, your competitors. You can pick up so much about what people need, what frustrates them, what they wish existed.
Just by listening to the chatter.
The organic, real conversations.
And the platforms have tools to help sort through it all. It's not just reading endless feeds.
No, the built-in analytics, Facebook Insights, Instagram Analytics, Twitter Analytics, they go beyond just likes and shares.
We mentioned demographics earlier.
Right. Demographics, interests of people talking about you, who the influential voices are in your space, even tracking if mentions are generally positive or negative over time,
So you know who's talking and what they're saying.
and how they feel. Like, imagine you push a product update and suddenly see a spike in negative comments. That's a critical early warning.
And it's not just passive listening, is it? You can actively jump in.
Totally. Ask open-ended questions directly. Run an informal Q&A. Encourage people to share photos using your product user-generated content.
Get involved in discussions.
Yes. Participate in relevant groups. Follow industry hashtags. Join niche communities online. You get targeted feedback and build connections, all pretty cost-effectively. It's about being part of the conversation.
Okay, we've covered a lot of different tools and approaches. The source material also kind of summed up the common cost-effective methods. It helps tie it together.
Yeah, it really brings it back to online surveys and questionnaires being central. Easy to use, flexible platforms, reaching lots of people for structured feedback.
Customer satisfaction, product ideas,
Preferences, needs, all that.
and social media just keeps coming up as vital.
Well, yeah. You've got the analytics telling you about your audience and content, plus the ability to do quick polls and have direct chats for immediate feedback. It's a powerhouse for budget data.
The summary also mentioned listening again, user content, hashtags.
Right, tapping into what people are saying unprompted. Reviews, forums, social chatter. You spot needs, complaints, trends maybe before anyone else. No cost for formal research there.
And we need balance. Doing this on a budget,
Hmm.
it must have downsides, challenges. The sources mentioned this too. What should people watch out for?
That's really important, yeah. These methods are great, but you need to be realistic. The big one is potential data quality issues.
How so?
Well, free tools might limit certain features, maybe less sophisticated ways to filter data or validate it, so the insights might not be quite as accurate or deep as paid options.
Like maybe a free survey limits how many questions you can ask about who the person is?
Exactly. You get an incomplete picture of your respondents sometime.
So you might not get the full depth of analysis.
Right. And with budget surveys or polls, getting a truly representative sample is tough if you only ask your existing followers or email list.
It might not reflect the whole market.
Precisely. You risk getting biased results, making decisions based on a skewed view.
Okay, so sample size and representativeness are hurdles. What about the time involved? Analyzing all this free data.
That's a huge factor. The tools are free, but your time isn't. Collecting, cleaning, actually analyzing the data takes effort.
And free tools might not have fancy automation.
Often not. No slick integrations. You might be manually exporting files, wrestling with spreadsheets. It's a hidden cost, especially for small teams.
And if you're using lots of different free sources, getting it all to work together.
Yeah, that can be tricky. Data from different dashboards, public sources, social insight, they might use different metrics, different formats. Pulling it all together into one clear picture takes time, maybe even specific skills.
So low financial cost, maybe, but potentially higher costs in data quality, getting a good sample, and just the sheer effort needed.
You got it. That's why good planning is key. Be really clear on what you need to know, pick the best free tool for that specific job, understand its limits, and budget the time for analysis.
Better to do one thing well with a free tool than spread yourself too thin.
Often, yes. Focus is your friend on a budget.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Clearly, there are tons of smart, cost-effective ways out there to gather really valuable data.
Absolutely. Digging into your existing analytics, using free survey tools cleverly, tapping public data, listening and engaging on social media. The options are there.
But as we just discussed, you have to be aware of the potential bumps in the road.
Right. Keep an eye on data quality, think about who you're actually reaching, and be realistic about the time and effort needed for analysis.
So here's something to chew on. Thinking about all these methods, website data, public records, social buzz med, what's one unexpected place you think valuable data might be hiding for a business, or just an area you're interested in?
Yeah.
Think beyond the usual suspects. Where else might that golden nugget of information be, maybe hiding in plain sight? Something to ponder. Thanks for making the deep dive with us.